Now, a report carried out in 2019 by education experts led by Professor Laban Ayiro showed that 78% of the respondents supported the competency-based curriculum and a change from the 844 system. Now, the fate of over 8 million learners in the country lies in the hands of an education reform task force that will be appointed by President William Ruto. Our education reporter Rukia Bule takes us through what could have been if CBC was implemented as it was initially suggested by education researchers.
Before the competency-based curriculum turned controversial, research indicates that a majority of Kenyans were rooting for it. This is according to Professor Laban Ayiro, who worked as the lead researcher that carried out a summative evaluation report on whether CBC would work in the country.
There's this misconception in the country that Kenyans didn't want CBC. No, Kenyans wanted CBC. And we have the statistics.
The 844 system was supposed to resolve the unemployment crisis that the country was facing at the time. But 30 years later, it no longer seemed to serve the purpose it was intended for.
I know so many people who scored straight A's in all the arts. So you score straight A's in 4 subjects. But because you are not talented in the sciences, you get C's and D's in the sciences, you end up unable to qualify to go to university.
According to the summative report that was done in 2019, the education experts carried out a national pilot phase with 410 schools across 42 counties for a year. They found that there was a 42% successful implementation rate, and that was mainly in the urban areas, while the rate was much lower in the rural areas, which was at 13%.
To be reviewing this curriculum now and asking, is it giving every child a fair chance? Are there children who are being disadvantaged by this system? Who are these children being disadvantaged, and what are the ways to remedy that so that they don't continue to be disadvantaged?
The costing of education in my report, the government required 365 billion to mount that grade 1 to 4 rollout of CBC. You see, and just our economy would not be able to support that.
The initial recommendation from the research was to domicile junior secondary school in primary. The current looming crisis that the task force needs to address is the double intake expected January next year.
Secondary was created specifically to coincide with that time when children are turning into teenagers and starting to feel that they're too big for primary school and starting to drop out. If we had a good plan, instead of spending money running around saying we are building CBC classrooms, that money would have gone to building laboratories in this school.
Some education experts say that this is not the time to argue on whether or not to scrap CBC, but time to correct its rushed implementation. The Education Reform Task Force needs to focus on training more teachers as well as building capacity to support the over 8 million learners under the curriculum. Rukia Bule, NTV.